They are separated by only about 9 miles, but they are joined together as the two halves of the best rivalry the sport has to offer. The Duke Blue Devils and the North Carolina Tar Heels will meet for the first of 2 regular season meetings tonight here at the Dean E. Smith Center in Chapel Hill. They're both on winning streaks, they're both ranked, and they're both ready for a huge evening here in Chapel Hill. Welcome to the ACC on ESPN, and welcome to what is affectionately known as the Dean Dome here in Chapel Hill. It is Duke and it is Carolina, the 241st all-time meeting. Carolina has the overall lead in the rivalry. They have the overall lead here in Chapel Hill and in this building, but Duke has held the upper hand, winning 10 of the last 13, sweeping the 2 games last year. And this is hard to believe. In the last 89 meetings, it's Duke by 1 game and Duke by 15 points. That's how close it is between these 2 storied programs. Welcome to Chapel Hill. Glad you're with us. Dan Shulman and Jay Billis. Great atmosphere. We've worked up a sweat. The game hasn't even started yet. This is pretty special.
Well, it's one of the great rivalries in all of sports. And when you've got excellence at this level, it's absolutely incredible to be in this type of atmosphere. And it's incredible for the players, too. And that's one thing. Carolina's more experienced. They've got players that have been through this before. For a lot of Duke's guys, this is their first time in this rivalry. And managing their emotions is going to be really important in this game. Can they handle the big moment?
Give me one X and O thing that each team has to do well to get out of here with a win.
Well, I think for North Carolina, pounding the ball inside and controlling the glass. This team is stronger inside than Duke, and for Duke, it's going to be driving the ball. They're going to get some big guys guarding perimeter players. Can they involve them in ball screens, dribble handoffs, and can they drive the ball and put them into rotation, hit the three-point line, and get to the free throw line? That's going to be vital.
Let's check in now with Shannon Spade.
Well, Dan, today Brandon Ingram is one of the top college basketball players in the nation. But less than a year ago, he was still in high school where he was mentored by several former Tar Heels. He went to the same school as Reggie Bullock. Jerry Stackhouse was his AAU coach. And if it wasn't for the uncertainty of the NCAA investigation, he might be wearing a different shade of blue here tonight. But despite all of the Carolina influence, Ingram told me yesterday he was a Duke fan. He said he wanted to be different. He also told me he watched this rivalry when he was growing up and could not wait to be a part of it.
All right, Shannon, thank you. Noisy place here tonight at the Dean E. Smith Center. Let's take a look at the starting lineups now, brought to you by Jet.com. Mike Krzyzewski's been juggling his lineup a little bit over the course of the season. He really only plays 6. Emil Jefferson still out with the injury. Luke Kennard will come off the bench tonight for the Blue Devils. The Tar Heels are older, bigger, and deeper. And in Bryce Johnson, they got a guy who can really score the ball on the inside about as well as anybody in the conference, maybe the country. And Marcus Page, Jay, seems to have emerged from that shooting slump of a couple of weeks ago.
Well, he was in a horrible slump, but over his last 3 games, Marcus Page is 11 of 20 from 3. That's 55%. Duke is going to have to pay attention to him and not leave him because he's still their primary perimeter scorer.
Roy Williams had another bout of vertigo recently in the Boston College game. He seems recovered from that. You can see his record, career record against Duke. 10 and 15 as the head coach at Carolina. Mike Krzyzewski 42 and 38 against a variety of Carolina coaches as the head coach at Duke. Duke mostly in the black uniforms with a blue trim. Carolina in the home white. And a loud, raucous house here in Chapel Hill. Let's see if Carolina tries to go inside right away. Meeks can't do anything with Plumlee. It'll be Page for 3. Weak side rebound missed by Jackson. Got it back, scores, and draws the foul.
Right away, it was Brandon Ingram guarding Bryce Johnson. And North Carolina looking to go inside and to have a wing player, Justin Jackson, come in and get not 1 but 2 offensive rebounds. That's a good sign and a good start for North Carolina, because that's where the Tar Heels have to dominate the game, in the paint and on the glass.
Even though Carolina beat Pitt handily on Sunday, they had only one offensive rebound in the entire game. Hard to believe. They've already got two in this game. 20 seconds in, the foul on Plumlee, and Duke's so thin, Jay, they can ill afford to have anybody get in foul trouble. Grayson Allen misses the three.
North Carolina with some interesting matchups on the defensive end. Bryce Johnson guarding Matt Jones.
Meeks banging with Plumlee. And Ingram holds off Johnson for the rebound.
And that means Justin Jackson is going to take Brandon Ingram. A little more mobile out on the perimeter, can guard him off the dribble, but still has size and length to bother his perimeter shot.
A drive by Allen and a touch foul called on Joel Berry II.
I think any time that a Duke perimeter player has got a North Carolina big man on him, you can expect that guy to be put into a ball screen, a dribble handoff, and to look to drive him. They're going to try to put the ball on the floor as often as they can.
Ingram into Plumlee, and it'll go. Duke on the board.
Plumlee just hides behind the defense on the baseline, almost like he's playing against a zone, and he gets a lot of drop-offs, and he's an excellent finisher.
You know, he's averaging 30 minutes a game. He's become an extremely important part of the Duke team this year, averaging better than 8 points and 8 rebounds per contest.
Looked like Duke came to double team on the flight of the ball when Johnson got it.
Thornton too strong off the glass, Meeks the rebound.
And this is where North Carolina is its most dangerous, is in transition. They run their secondary break.
Grayson Allen on Justin Jackson right now. Keep an eye on the Ingram-Johnson matchup. Meeks with a jump hook over Plumlee.
North Carolina is resolute to get that ball inside. And if Plumlee's not going to get around in front, or a three-quarter front to try to knock that away, Meeks can make that shot. Also a turnaround jumper.
Ingram for three. The freshman having a sensational season at better than 17 points per game and shooting better than 41% from beyond the arc.
Well, he's absolutely a special player, and he's getting better and better.
Meeks threw it out of bounds off of Plumlee.
Now, Brandon Ingram got Bryce Johnson on him, gave him a little jab step, and he's so confident with that three-point shot coming off a 25-point game against Virginia. And you can bet that if Johnson has to switch off on him again, you're going to see that move. But
Berry got it. The sophomore better than 12 points per game this year. His scoring has almost tripled from a year ago.
He's at 21 double-figure games. Last year he had only one. But he's healthy this year, and knocking down a perimeter shot is a good sign for North Carolina, because they've not shot the ball well on the season from three.
Matt Jones, a good three-point shooter, misses his first attempt. Carolina with the ball in a three-point lead early.
Boy, North Carolina's big guys, especially Kennedy Meeks, they've been good to start this game. And you can go with Isaiah Hicks as well, that comes in and gives you a superior athlete that comes into the game.
Jackson the drive. The patented floater off the back of the iron, and the rebound to Thornton, ahead to Allen. Allen recovers. Plumlee will follow.
And that was North Carolina's big guys not running the floor, and Marshall Plumlee going rim to rim to get that second shot. And Duke's going to try to run.
Page no. Johnson, yes! Now that's got to be the biggest concern Mike Krzyzewski has, is keeping Carolina off the offensive glass. And it has cost them a couple of buckets already in the early going. Allen with a strong drive, but a foul is called on Bryce Johnson.
Anytime a shot goes up, it's easy to say you got to turn and get contact, but nobody blocks out Bryce Johnson. He runs right past Brandon Ingram and then past Derek Thornton. And you're not going to get an easier putback. And what a season Bryce Johnson has had. Picked up that foul as Grayson Allen drove to the basket. So even after a made field goal, you've got to get back and protect that paint.
Allen, an 85% free throw shooter, made 31 in a row during November and December. And here's Chase Jeter. Getting into the game early as Marshall Plumlee gets a breather, heading into the media timeout at the under 16 mark. Jeter, Coach K told us before the game, has been practicing better. They can get a few minutes from him here and there, but still not a regular part of the rotation. And Jeter defending Bryce Johnson. Let's see if Carolina goes right at him. Berry into Johnson. Follow good for Jackson.
Right. Justin Jackson's been all over the offensive glass. And so this is where the perimeter players of Duke have got to be stronger. You've got to turn and get a body on somebody. This is a physical game. And you're not going to jump with North Carolina on the glass and beat them that way.
Ingram. Good defense by Jackson. Ingram with the offensive rebound and a fresh 30 for Duke. Jones. Followed by Allen, no, and a foul going against Carolina to take us to a timeout.
Well, Justin Jackson is an excellent defender, and he's terrific with that floater, but nobody blocks him out. That's the second offensive rebound bucket for North Carolina.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Wendy's, proud sponsor of the 2016 John R. Wooden Award Men's Player of the Year. Progressive, comparing rates to help you save. Now that's Progressive. And the Lincoln Motor Company and the new 2016 Lincoln MKX.
Welcome to the ACC on ESPN. Let's go cross court to Shannon Spade.
Dan, you and Jay have already mentioned the physicality of this game. Associate head coach Jeff Capel told me before this game started that the first 5 minutes dealing with that physicality, taking some of those blows would be the most important because of the depth of this Duke team. They can't practice. They run drills, and they certainly don't take any body blows in practice. He said coming in, seeing how we handle it and how we adjust is key in the first 5 minutes.
All right, Shannon, thank you. Allen back at the free throw line for the Blue Devils. The foul before the timeout was on Joel Berry, his second. Berry to the bench, Britt in for him. Theo Pinson and Isaiah Hicks have also checked in for Carolina. Luke Kennard in off the bench for Duke.
This is where Carolina's depth can wear you down over the course of 40 minutes. Bringing in Isaiah Hicks off the bench is a more physical and more athletic big guy that can really score efficiently. He's a difficult matchup for Duke.
Keep an eye on the ball handling of Pinson. Last 5 games, 25 assists, 5 turnovers. Johnson with the up and under. Sweet post feed from Page.
Terrific screen by Theo Pinson. A little low cross screen to get Bryce Johnson open on that left block.
Allen with a drive. And a chance for 3. Hicks called for the block.
Isaiah Hicks on a great drive by Grayson Allen came over to take a charge instead of going up to try to block that shot. I think he'd be much more effective. You got to force Grayson Allen into that screen. And he just wasn't able to get full on with Allen. Might have been better as a no call, frankly, but Allen is such a dynamic driver. Kept his head up and his eyes on the rim to finish that play.
He is averaging better than 20 points per game this year. His scoring is up better than 16 a game from last year. If that continues, it will be the greatest one season to the next increase in ACC history.
Allen guarding Marcus Page, and the freshman Chase Jeter on Bryce Johnson.
Plumlee getting ready to come back in for Duke. Pinson off to Hicks. And the rebound brought down by Ingram, and Duke looking for the lead. Ingram hangs too strong off the glass. Rebound Johnson. Carolina looking to run. Hicks. Boy, are they lethal in the open court.
Well, it's typical North Carolina transition. It's the one thing they do that can be devastating.
Kennard misses the 3.
Yeah, Kennard coming off a game in which he didn't score against Virginia, his first scoreless game in ACC play. A guy that had 30 against Notre Dame, 26 against North Carolina State. The lefty can really score.
Britt for three. And Ingram with a rebound in traffic. He's doing a nice job of the defensive glass tonight.
Ingram is multi-dimensional. He's got a 7'4" wingspan. Just an incredible player.
And we got a foul against Jeter. We've got another Super Saturday for you with a couple of great matchups in college hoops. Game day will be there. And College Station as Kentucky takes on Texas A&M. And then the NBA comes your way at 8:30 on ABC. Stephen Curry and the Warriors taking on Chris Paul and the Clippers. I know you had all kinds of fun doing that Warriors-Wizards game a couple of weeks ago.
How could you not have fun? Stephen Curry gets 51. John Wall gets 41. Draymond Green has a triple-double, and he's not even considered for player of the game. How about Klay Thompson beating Steph Curry in the three-point contest?
Some bragging rights there. Jeter back to the bench. Plumlee back in for Duke, and a steal from behind by Thornton.
Boy, what a smart play by Thornton.
Blocked by Hicks. Kennard shot off on the baseline, and Duke will regroup.
Boy, Carolina really defended that well. It looked like Kennard was going to have an easy three, but he was forced into a baseline drive, and help was right there to cut off the baseline.
Kennard gets inside, and the lefty banks it in to bring Duke back within one.
Well, that's just showing they're going to put, you got a big guy guarding Kennard, and they're going to put him in a ball screen and drive him.
Carolina a little loose with the basketball this time down. Kennard with a shot fake, baseline jumper. Duke has the lead.
Boy, what a terrific play in transition by Duke. The shot fake. But the real key there is attacking the big guy that is guarding a perimeter player. North Carolina's big guys had better get used to guarding ball screens and dribble handoffs. It's going to happen all night.
Floater Page, soft touch. Yeah, you wonder if Duke can handle Carolina's size. Conversely, will Carolina eventually, maybe, Jay, have to go smaller to fix some of the matchups at the other end?
Well, that's really the issue. And you're going to have to see if you can weather that on the defensive end, because you have such an advantage on the offensive end.
Boy, Kennard is feeling it right now. Corner three, Duke by 2. But now a foul they didn't need because of how thin they are.
Luke Kennard being guarded by Isaiah Hicks. And he has taken Hicks out to the three-point line. When there's a ball screen, he's driving him. An excellent job.
When we come back, Bryce Johnson, Jay Bilas going 94 feet here at the Dean Smith Center.
I wonder if I can make it.
94 feet with North Carolina's Bryce Johnson. All right, what does North Carolina eat for pregame meal?
We have a variation of things. We have steak and salmon. Some guys eat spaghetti.
What's your favorite TV show?
Favorite TV show would be Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
All right, what do you watch most often on Netflix?
Well, I watch Narcos. The show about Pablo Escobar is pretty cool.
What was your first car?
First car is a Chevy Equinox.
All right, when Roy Williams yells, what does he say most often?
Come on, Bryce! Come on!
94 feet.
I like that Johnson wasn't worried about maybe not getting to start tonight. The coach was right in the corner. He heard that,
He was right there.
Yeah.
Oh, God, he loved it. He was asking if he could yell at Bryce during the whole 94 feet, so he'll think it was a game-like situation.
Dan Shulman, Jay Bilas, Shannon Spake, the Game Day gang here as well, and a terrific start in this one. Duke 20 and North Carolina 18, barely 8 minutes in. Jackson off the back of the iron, offensive rebound, Meeks. Already the 5th offensive rebound for the Tar Heels. Allen can't control, Carolina ball. Let's check in with Shannon again.
Dan, you know, Bryce did a great impersonation of Roy Williams. I was just watching him in that huddle, and that's exactly what he looked like. And a lot of that was focused towards his bigs, Kennedy Meeks specifically. He just wants more out of those guys.
Just took Meeks out. Joel James coming in, Jay.
Well, that's where North Carolina can dominate the game, in the paint. You know, Duke is more active and more dominant from the three-point line. They do a great job of getting to the free throw line, but the glass and the paint is where North Carolina should expect to have the advantage.
Britt with a lay-in to tie the game. Carolina's already got 14 points in the paint tonight. They average 41 a game.
Well, one thing you cannot allow North Carolina to do is drive the ball, because you want them to prove it over the top, put late pressure on a shot. That was a difficult shot, an excellent defense by Bryce Johnson.
Having to guard Ingram out on the perimeter.
You take a bad shot against North Carolina. Duke did a good job of covering up. But right now, Grayson Allen on Joel James.
Yeah.
He needs to post him.
They got matchup problems all over the place right now. Duke does. Can Carolina take advantage? Barry misses the three. Johnson with a putback and a foul.
North Carolina is dominating the offensive glass. Right now, the best passes that North Carolina is making is a missed shot. Nobody able to block out Bryce Johnson. He keeps moving. And with his length, and he is such a quick jumper. And has a magnificent touch, not only around the basket, but in the 18-foot to the rim area. He's just got a fabulous shooting touch.
You saw from that graphic, Carolina about as good as anybody in the country. They score almost as high a percentage of points from two as anybody in the country. They don't score very often from three. They don't take a ton, and they make a low percentage. They know where their bread is buttered. Get the ball inside.
Nice job by Nate Brick making the catch difficult for Allen. He extended that catch.
Allen takes a bump and gets the roll, and it's tied again. 8 already for Allen. Jackson ahead of the pack.
Mike Krzyzewski telling his team, calm down. You know, they gave up a bucket, but they've got to keep their composure. Well, this Duke team can really score. The most efficient offense in the country. And they're going to give up some baskets.
Wow, Plumlee putting the ball on the deck from about 15 feet away and spinning into a layup.
Well, Mike Krzyzewski just looking for matchups that he can take advantage of.
Johnson sneaks underneath the basket, and he's got another one. 8 already for Bryce Johnson.
Just a question of alertness in transition. And Duke working awfully hard to get a score, but the baskets they're giving up are really easy, and you can tell they're going to go after Joel James right now.
Allen trying to use the screen. Britt stays with him. Britt knocks it away, and it's off Allen's leg, out of bounds. First turnover committed in this game by Duke.
And Nate Britt has made the catch really difficult and has extended the catch. And then on the spin, he stayed down and went after the ball, not just to bother Grayson Allen, but to take the ball away. That was a great defensive play by Nate Britt.
And here comes some reinforcements. Page, Pinson, Meeks, all back in for Carolina. Duke goes zone.
2-3 zone with Ingram out front. That gives them some length.
And Pinson misses a chippy out of bounds to Duke.
Well, Duke just given a change in look to North Carolina. That's going to open up some offensive rebound opportunities for North Carolina out of that zone. But Mike Krzyzewski trying to be a little bit disruptive and maybe slow North Carolina down in the half court.
11 minutes in, Carolina by 2. They'll meet again on the 5th of March at Cameron Indoor Stadium.
There's the isolation for Ingram. Just isolating the left side, going right at Pinson. He got the foul on the drive. I think Duke calls this their elbow series. They'll get the ball to Ingram on the left elbow, and he'll face up. They'll clear out, and he'll have that entire left side completely to himself.
He didn't show his full array of skills early in the season, but boy, over the last couple of months, he's been about as good as anybody in this conference. And one of the very best freshmen in the country. Misses the jump hook, follows it, no. Johnson down with a rebound for the Heels.
Just another isolation. He had Marcus Page on him, just backed him right down.
Page puts the brakes on through the hands of Johnson.
What a play by Allen.
He finds Jones, he finds Ingram, and Ingram couldn't finish. Now it's Carolina with numbers. Jackson lays it in. What a 4-point turnaround that was. Jones, no. Johnson, rebound number 6.
Jones is hurt.
Matt Jones still down on the court behind the play. Johnson the slam, and now they'll stop play.
And that is one thing that Duke cannot afford. Foul trouble and an injury.
Mike Krzyzewski, the first person there to check on the well-being of Matt Jones. 30-24, North Carolina leading Duke. You can see Matt Jones being helped to the Duke bench, a team that has virtually no depth, has just seen one of its better and most indispensable players suffer an injury. Watch the left ankle of Matt Jones right there, landing on the back of the heel of Bryce Johnson, and Jones was down on the court, Jay, through the majority of that TV timeout.
Yeah, and you saw as Jones caught the ball and saw that he had Bryce Johnson on him. That has to be part of the game plan for Duke, that they're going to drive whatever big guy is on a guard. And Johnson did an excellent job of moving his feet, but when he went up, when Matt Jones went up, Johnson's feet were still down there. He's still moving his feet. And that happens sometimes when both players don't leave the floor and only one does. Oftentimes you can come down on someone's foot. And that did not look good. That means Luke Kennard is going to have to play extended minutes in this one. And Duke has to avoid foul trouble going down the stretch in this one.
Let's go to Shannon.
Well, you saw Coach K kneeling down and over top of Matt Jones. He was holding his hand. Matt Jones obviously in a lot of pain, and when they did walk him over to the bench, guys, he was not able to put any weight on that left foot. So, as you mentioned, this is a bad deal for Duke.
Luke Kennard stepping up. He's played fewer than 5 minutes in this game, and he's got 10 points. Jay mentioned he didn't score, played 12 minutes, did not score over the weekend against Virginia. Kickball.
Yeah, Luke Kennard just coming off a little high ball screen there. And there was a switch, but not good communication by North Carolina, leaving an excellent shooter open. 2-3 zone now for Duke, and North Carolina trying to screen the zone and confuse.
And a 2-3 zone, at least on that trip, Jay, where Ingram at 6'9" was up at the top of the zone.
Yeah, he has been up at the top of the zone in the past. And that way he doesn't have to bang bodies as often. Like, Ingram's just 1 of 7 in this game. They've got to get him going on the offensive end. He's such a good offensive player. But being guarded by Bryce Johnson, and you have to expect that Duke is going to go right at Johnson and make him defend.
Jackson recovers on Kennard. The 5 you see in the game for Duke are the 5 you're going to see a lot of, given the way this one has gone and the Jones injury. A travel on Kennard. NBA Friday presented by State Farm on ESPN. This week, Paul George and the Pacers taking on Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, the All-Star Game MVP again, and the rest of the Thunder at 8 Eastern. Then it's 10:30. At 10:30, it's the Celtics and the Jazz. Coverage begins with NBA Countdown. Charged by Dew at 7.
North Carolina in one of its box sets, going with a little diagonal up screen, then a stagger away. North Carolina is getting basically what it wants on the offensive end. And they're certainly doing a great job on the offensive boards. They have dominated the offensive glass and gotten second shots.
Foul on Derek Thornton. 3-point lead, Carolina. Carolina, the leaders in the ACC right now. They come in at 10-2 in league play. Earlier tonight, Louisville with a convincing win over Syracuse. So Carolina 10-2, Miami at 9-3. Top 4 get a double bye. A lot of these programs have backloaded schedules, have tougher schedules at the end of the conference season than they did at the beginning. Both of these programs among them. One that doesn't is Notre Dame. Notre Dame's played a lot of the toughest games of its schedule, and the Irish are still right there with the leaders in the ACC.
There's Brandon Ingram attacking off the dribble when he's got Bryce Johnson on him. I mean, it is an automatic. Big guy guarding a perimeter player. They are going right at the Carolina big guy to drive him. And it's a spread floor because Duke can shoot it.
Meek Snow.
Brandon Ingram, when he catches the ball and sees Bryce Johnson on him, Bryce Johnson goes underneath that little exchange. Just a shot fake and getting him to settle into that stance and then blowing right past him to get to the rim. And you have to honor all the shooters on the floor, and that's going to spread things out. You know, oftentimes, Dan, we talk about spacing, and spacing is incredibly important in basketball. But what's even more important is, does your spacing stretch the defense? Because if you can't shoot it, the defense isn't going to go with you. It's going to be packed into the paint. Duke can shoot it, and it's got a spread floor to be able to attack that paint.
Plumlee the handoff to Ingram with Hicks on him right now. He'll shoot it over him. Way too strong on the 3. Long rebound down to Plumlee, and he'll finish again.
And how good of a job has Marshall Plumlee done on this season? And he's playing within himself. He's so strong, and he's really a super athlete. from a family of great athletes.
8 already for Plumlee. Duke still in the 2-3 zone. Jackson. Just 24% from beyond the arc, but as you said, sometimes their best play is just get it up on the rim. Bryce Johnson will take care of the rest.
Well, Justin Jackson over his last 2 was 15 of 21 from the field, and even though he's not shot it well from 3 on the season, he's not bashful to put up a shot when he's open.
Ingram fouled by Hicks. Bryce Johnson is 1 rebound away from a double-double already.
Well, he's been outstanding all season long, but what's really difficult in this zone is trying to get blockout responsibilities. And he gets underneath Brandon Ingram, so there's no way that Ingram could block him out. And so you're giving up something. When you're going to the zone to try to protect yourself from foul trouble, you're making it even more difficult to protect the glass. And that means Duke's going to have to be very efficient on the offensive end because North Carolina's getting a lot of easy baskets.
Bonus situation for Duke, and Ingram rattles home the first. Duke is hanging around, down by 2 on the road against the 5th-ranked team in the nation and without Matt Jones. Matt Jones has the shoe off on the bench, rolled that left ankle badly. You'd have to wonder about his ability to return to this game. And without him, and without that guy, Emile Jefferson, what little depth that Duke has basically disappeared.
Well, North Carolina, if they can get the ball into the middle and turn, they've got Hicks on the baseline. Hicks operated really well in the middle of the zone against Syracuse. He had 21 points in that game. Another offensive board.
So there's the double-double already. 12 points and 10 rebounds for Johnson. Less than 16 minutes into the game.
They're really one of the best options. North Carolina is very good at screening the zone along the baseline and being able to throw over the top. But one of the best options they've got against this zone when it's spread out, and I think it's got to pack in a little bit more and make North Carolina prove it over the top, is to get the ball into the middle to a guy like Isaiah Hicks where he can knock that shot down or look down to the baseline to pass it.
Second foul on Brandon Ingram, but not a lot Mike Krzyzewski can do. He's got Chase Jeter, who played a minute or 2 earlier in the game. More often than not, you see in this kind of a situation a player come out, but Duke may not have a choice. They may just have to hope that nobody gets in real foul trouble tonight.
Yeah, there is no choice. And Brandon Ingram has learned to play with fouls. This Duke team has really grown up a lot over the last 2 to 3 weeks. You could say maybe a month ago they were a little bit fragile, being so young and shorthanded. But this team has really grown up and toughened up in the last 2 games, getting wins over Louisville and Virginia. I think demonstrated that.
They've won 4 in a row. They're 19-6 on the season. Carolina has won 2 in a row. They're 21-4 on the season. Luke May has checked into the game for the first time for Carolina. Freshman from Huntersville, North Carolina, number 32.
A little surprised that North Carolina hasn't come with its scramble. They haven't got a walk there on Grayson Allen, but North Carolina hasn't come with traps once you get across half court. They call that their scramble. And I thought they would really go after Duke. I was surprised that Louisville didn't press Duke last Monday. And I'm a little bit surprised that North Carolina's not bringing a little bit more heat on the Blue Devils to try to, maybe they're a little bit worried about that 3-point line, but to try to test Derek Thornton and really go after him. Now 1-3-1. The corners are where you can attack. Luke Kennard has got to handle the corners.
Ingram with his length up at the top. Jackson from the wing. Plumlee the rebound. Britt slows down Allen.
Duke hasn't moved it from side to side. They've got to move the ball and then attack. Right now, they're just keeping it on one side of the floor. Good fake.
Kennard from the baseline. Not there, then the rebound for May.
Excellent block out by Luke May.
Britt. Johnson again. 16 for Bryce Johnson. Carolina by 5.
Bryce Johnson has made a great claim for ACC Player of the Year. He, Grayson Allen, Malcolm Brogdon.
Allen, no. Another rebound for Johnson.
Well, not a good shot, and that opens up Carolina transition. Well, you take a bad shot, Dan, and Carolina is going to run it right down your throat. A bad shot is the first pass in Carolina's fast break. And when they are breaking, their big guys can run, and Bryce Johnson has had a great 40 minutes in his first 20.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Verizon. Join a better network because better matters. And American Standard Formax Toilets, the cleanest flush ever engineered.
Back at the Smith Center with Jay Billis, Shannon Spake. I'm Dan Schulman. It's Carolina leading Duke 38-33. And during the timeout, Matt Jones was helped off the court into the Duke locker room. The report we just got, obviously a left ankle injury. That part we knew he is doubtful to return. And with the shoe off and given the severity of, given how it looked when it happened, you would not expect him to be able to return. And that means that Duke has virtually no depth. Antoine Jamison in the house, one of the great Tar Heels from the late 90s. Rasheed Wallace is here as well. Two great players here at North Carolina.
Not sure I've ever seen anybody in college that was quicker from the catch to the release than Antoine Jamison was when he played here at North Carolina. Remember that game in '98 here at the Smith Center? Jamison had, 35 points, 11 rebounds. He had the ball in his hands for a grand total of 53 seconds in that game. That's pretty efficient.
Wow.
Well, how about this, Dan? Duke's got 13 rebounds in this game. Bryce Johnson has 11. Johnson has been excellent on both ends of the floor.
16 and 11 so far. Remember that 39 and 23 game he had in January against Florida State. Thornton spinning on Page. Ingram the kick. Allen wide open. And as well as things seem to be going for Carolina, and with the injury suffered by Duke, they still can't completely pull away. Again, the floater from Jackson, and the lead is 6.
I think North Carolina has to be judicious about who they help off of. Nate Britt helped off of Grayson Allen on that right side to get down to Brandon Ingram when Bryce Johnson was recovering to him. That left Allen wide open.
Plumlee having a big first half. He's into double figures already now with 10.
Yeah, while North Carolina has scored easily, they've scored easily in transition. They've been all over the offensive glass. They are giving up a lot of easy baskets. It's not just Duke kind of knocking down perimeter shots. They've gotten to the rim as well. North Carolina's going to have to tighten up their defense at home.
Johnson over Plumlee. He's just got a knack for putting the ball in the basket. He's got 18. Timeout, Duke.
But Duke looked like they were concerned with fouling right there. And that has to be a concern. This last 2 minutes of the first half is very important for both teams. Can North Carolina stretch it out? Can Duke get closer, maybe even take the lead? Bryce Johnson has been magnificent.
A huge couple of minutes upcoming here for Duke. Can they stay within striking distance, and can they avoid any fouls near the end of the half? Thornton and Ingram are each in the game with 2 right now for the Blue Devils. Thornton, how did he find a way? How did he find room to get that ball up on the glass?
Well, he drove to his left, and he's better going to his left. But that was a fabulous finish to go between 2 Tar Heels. He just blew right by Marcus Page.
Duke tonight, we've seen man-to-man, 1-3-1, and now they're in the 2-3 again. Jackson to May, rejected by Ingram.
But what a play by Brandon Ingram.
Allen with a wise decision, didn't have numbers.
Ingram's got Page on him. He can post him. Well, Duke is really going to every matchup that's their advantage.
Shot clock inside 10. Allen, crowd wanted to travel. It's a 2-point game.
He just tried to overpower Nate Britt when Britt had to switch off onto him.
Page scoops it up and in.
Yeah, I think that's what North Carolina has to do more of. Duke's been driving the ball and putting North Carolina into rotation. And against this zone, you can't just throw the ball around the perimeter. You've got to drive into gaps. Ingram calling for the ball screen from Plumlee. He's got Pinson on him.
Ingram with a strong drive, but it rolls off the rim. Britt open for 3. And it is out of bounds to Duke. And the Blue Devils, with the shot clock turned off, can hold for the final shot.
I'm not sure that's the shot that Roy Williams wanted when you could attack the basket. He had Duke back on their heels in transition. And if you can get it to the rim, go ahead and get it to the rim. It's not necessarily a shot that Nate Britt can't make, but in that situation, attack the basket when you know Duke doesn't want to pick up a foul. Well, Duke has really hung in there in this game. They are down to 5 guys, and right there with North Carolina.
Allen throws up a prayer. It's not answered, and that'll bring the first half to a close. A high-scoring first half, and Bryce Johnson, the biggest part of that. 18 points and 11 rebounds in the first 20 minutes for Johnson. Carolina leads by 4. Coming up on the Jeep halftime report, Iowa stunned in State College. Buddy Hield is back in action. Reese Davis, Jay Williams, Seth Greenberg, they're all right here at the Dean Dome, ready to analyze the first half. A compelling first half, to say the least. Carolina leads Duke by 4.
You're watching ESPN's Rivalry Week, presented by Wendy's.
Page, no. Johnson, yes! Welcome back to Chapel Hill. Welcome to the ACC on ESPN, a rivalry week presented by Wendy's. It is Duke. It is North Carolina, and it's a 4-point lead for the Heels going to the second half. Welcome back, Dan Schulman and Jay Billis. Duke basically a 6-man team after the injury to Matt Jones, left ankle, doubtful to return, basically a 5-man team. How do they hang in the second half with Carolina?
You got to try to slow the tempo down. I don't think they can go up and down all game long. And for North Carolina, I don't think they can go fast enough. But Roy Williams wants more and more possessions. That means more fouls. It means more offensive rebound opportunities. And it means they can get baskets in transition where they're really devastating. But in that first half for North Carolina, to get 10 offensive rebounds and 15 points off those offensive rebounds and to score so efficiently on the break, that's what Carolina's got to do in the second half. Keep the pressure on.
Bryce Johnson, a monster first half. 18 points, 11 rebounds. Moments ago, Shannon Spake with Roy Williams.
Coach, you guys have won the battle on the boards, but you've given up 42 points. Where do you want your defense to tighten up in the second?
Well, I don't care if we give up 42 points. We're an up and down tempo team. I don't want them to shoot a great percentage. We've got to cut down our percentage. Hopefully make a few more threes to get the three-point game a little bit more even. But still, we like a fast tempo. I don't ever care how many points the other team has as long as we have more.
What do you think about the influence your bigs have had in this game?
Well, we got to keep doing it because that is an advantage for us, but it's got to be for 40 minutes.
Thanks, Coach.
Brandon Ingram just 2 for 10 in the first half. Marshall Plumlee had a big first half, made all 5 of his shots. He's got 10 points. Grayson Allen with 13. Luke Kennard hit a couple of threes. You heard Roy Williams talking about the Carolina threes. They were just 1 of 8 in the first half. That is not a strength of theirs.
Duke's got to do a better job of moving the ball in the second half, getting it from side to side. That's the first time in a while they've moved it from one side to another. And they get a wide open 3 to start from Thornton.
And it's a 1-point game here early in the second half.
Well, how much has this Duke team toughened up in the last month?
Another bucket for Johnson. He's got 20.
20 points, 11 rebounds. That is 9 of 11 from the field. Really, it's been Justin Jackson and Bryce Johnson as the most efficient offensive players. The rest of the Carolina team, 6 of 18 from the field outside of Jackson and Bryce.
Meanwhile, Matt Jones is on the bench, but does not have a shoe on. Now, they are wrapping his ankle as if maybe they're going to try to get that shoe back on and see what pressure, if any, he can put on the ankle. The report heading into halftime was he is doubtful to return.
Well, Duke back into man-to-man.
Johnson, no. And out of bounds off Meeks. Back to Duke.
Well, and that rotation got Grayson Allen having to block out Kennedy Meeks on the weak side. And that is a difficult block out for any guard to go up against that size. And Meeks just wasn't able to pull down that rebound, but he had it right in his hands. Bryce Johnson guarding Ingram, and Ingram can take him, isolate him one-on-one here.
No look pass. Thornton will try it from this wing and miss the three. And it's tapped out to Page.
Solid job defensively by Bryce Johnson to stay in front.
Johnson gets free of Plumlee and slams home 2 more.
And North Carolina has been so efficient in the full court. Their break, their secondary break, they're getting just about whatever they want. Got Plumlee on the high side, just lobbed it over. There was no weak side help in transition.
Ingram spinning by Johnson. Left it a little bit short.
Johnson has been doing a solid job on the defensive end. Looked like a trip there by Thornton.
And it is called.
Boy, Johnson came down and ran the floor, got down into the low block, and got Marshall Plumlee on the high side. And just kept him there and waited till the ball got over his head before he released. And nobody, whether it was Brandon Ingram, Derek Thornton, they're all hugging up on the weak side and weren't there to get in and bother that, knock it away.
3rd foul on Derek Thornton, the first Blue Devil with 3. Just saw Matt Jones move from the end of the bench to a different seat, Jay, and he hopped on his right foot to get there. He did not put any weight at all on that left ankle. Floater by Barry, no. Tip by Johnson, yes.
Well, Johnson got it with that right hand. And North Carolina really exerting its dominance on the glass.
Bryce Johnson on his way to another monster night. Offensive foul, Marshall Plumlee.
Boy, that was a fabulous job by Joel Berry. He just sat right on that slip screen. Marshall Plumlee went to set a side ball screen, just slipped it to the basket, and Berry was there to take that charge. Instead of going with his man through, he stayed. Really smart play by Joel Berry.
Mike Krzyzewski will use an early timeout.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Taco Bell's new Quesalupa. It's going to be bigger than, well, everything. And the all-new Audi Q7.
Happy 53rd birthday to Michael Jordan. His jersey prominently displayed here up in the rafters of the Dean E. Smith Center. Of course, at the shot that won the 1982 national championship for the Tar Heels. What a lasting legacy he's had in the sport.
Got to make that jersey bigger in here. That's how good he was.
Yep.
Bryce Johnson has every point for North Carolina in this second half.
It was 4 at the half. It's only grown by 3 to 7 right now, but it feels like a very dangerous time right now for Duke.
Grayson Allen being guarded by Marcus Page. And Allen is stronger. Wouldn't be surprised to see him continue to try to drive Marcus Page and try to use his strength.
Bernard trying to drive on Jackson. 4 to shoot. Ingram for 3. And Duke back within 4.
Bryce Johnson just coming off of Brandon Ingram on that drive. And Ingram has been struggling a bit from the field, but now seeing the ball go through the basket, maybe he'll get hot.
Barry's jumper will not go down. Tipped into the hands of Plumlee, and he'll find some help.
Bryce Johnson continues on Brandon Ingram. Always going to have a big guy guarding a perimeter player. So good job by Joel Berry. He's doing a really nice job on Derek Thornton.
Bernard with a drive. Pass might have hit the underside of the backboard. Wound up in the hands of Thornton. And eventually a shot clock violation is called on Duke. Media timeout, just as it was at the half. 4-point lead, Carolina.
Got her back in studio, as my colleague Dan Dockett so eloquently just put it. Nobody walks into United Supermarkets Arena and expects to walk out with an easy win. Jamuni McNeese with the bucket here, but Oklahoma in a tough one, up just 1 at Texas Tech, guys.
Knockers, thank you. And right now, Joey Brackett says Oklahoma as a 1 seed along with Kansas, Villanova, North Carolina currently a 1, Virginia a 2. Duke, by the way, last I saw, which was earlier today, Joe Lunardi had Duke as a 4 seed right now.
And you have to think that Kansas, if it ended today, would be the #1 overall seed. A really poor offensive possession by North Carolina. And Duke continues to hang around. North Carolina seems like they're dominating almost every facet of this game, and they're only up 4.
Do you credit Duke, or do you say about Carolina, how have they not been able to deliver the knockout blow?
Well, I think you have to credit Duke for how they hang in there. But North Carolina does have to start showing a little bit more killer instinct. Just another poor possession by North Carolina.
And it's Duke's ball.
Really to have Duke able to score and make this a one-possession game here, being down to basically 5 players, and they're getting beaten in transition. They're getting beaten up on the boards. Duke has shown a ton of grit to stay in this game and be just 2 possessions down.
They're making their threes too, 6 for 12, and there's Grayson Allen now with 15 points, strong drive, and it's a 2-point game.
So Grayson Allen going right after Marcus Paige, and Paige a very good defender, but Allen is stronger.
Another rebound for Bryce Johnson.
I think Carolina's got to go inside. Good pass.
Meeks. Just too big for Ingram.
Well, that was an excellent pass, and not enough pressure on Bryce Johnson to take away his vision. That was just too easy for him to be able to deliver that ball.
Allen will drive it again. Ingram for 3. Got it back. May have had the second shot altered, and then a foul is called on Plumlee.
Well, Bryce Johnson has been challenging a lot of shots in there, and has made it difficult for Duke to shoot over when they've gotten into the lane.
Jay, that's 3 on Plumlee. Thornton's got 3. They just can't have anybody get in foul trouble, and now Mike Krzyzewski's going to make a change. So Chase Jeter is going to come into the game. And that's a loss as Plumlee commits a foul 90 feet from his own basket.
Plumlee's played very well. Got another one.
4 on Plumlee. They couldn't get him out in time.
And that one hurts. Plumlee didn't want to back off there and picked up his 4th foul as a result. And sometimes you just got to let it go. Just put that arm down and went aggressively after it, but you can get a basket back. He cannot get a foul back. And that was a huge play.
Boy, 2 fouls in a matter of seconds on Plumlee. And here comes Jeter for an extended stay in the game.
Well, how good has Bryce Johnson been in this one? He's been engaged from the opening tap. And he's been aggressive on the offensive end. And he's been aggressive defensively. He's had a difficult matchup having to guard Brandon Ingram in this game. Right now he goes with Chase Jeter and gives it to Isaiah Hicks. Will guard Ingram.
Johnson might be on his way to his second 30-20 game of the season. Bernard knocked down some shots in the first half. Scoops it up too strong off the glass, and rebound number 16 for Johnson. Tipped by Ingram, tipped again by Kennard. Carolina ball with 14 on the shot clock.
Well, Duke has stayed in man-to-man. They've not gone to any kind of zone. And North Carolina has not been able. This is not a great shooting team. But I think they have to continue to look to punch the ball inside. Now a little 2-3 zone on the out of bounds.
Barry, no. Long rebound to Allen with a full head of steam. Driving into Britt, and he's fouled.
Well, Britt was backing up, and Allen just went right at him. And that's what he's got to continue to do. Allen is an excellent catch-and-shoot player. So when he's able to get his feet set, I'm not sure there are more than 5 guys in the country that shoot it as well, if not better, than he does in catch-and-shoot situations. But he's an excellent driver and shoots a ton of free throws. He shoots 6-7 free throws a game.
And makes them at an 85% clip. Duke is down only 4. 6 minutes 45 seconds into the second half. Matt Jones injuring his left ankle, doubtful to return, doubtful at best given the way we've seen him hobbling around. No Emil Jefferson. Marshall Plumlee just picked up 2 quick fouls, so he's got 4. Second of his free throw tonight by Allen.
And North Carolina's going against a freshman in Chase Jeter that's not played a ton of minutes. And I think they've got to go after Duke inside and make Chase Jeter guard.
Rip. Johnson for 2 more.
Well, what a drive by Britt and a terrific drop off to Bryce Johnson. This is where it's danger time for Duke. The Blue Devils have to continue to score on the offensive end. Thornton
misses the 3. Barry the rebound. Hicks wants it with Ingram on him down in the post. Britt the penetration again. Out of bounds to Duke.
Well, Nate Britt on the last possession able to get into the lane, draw Brandon Ingram, and then drop it off to Bryce Johnson. Just a simple little drive. And when you can draw 2 defenders and get 2 to play the ball, there are some good things on the back end of that. Duke essentially in a floppy set. 2 screeners down low with Luke Kennard looking to work off Theo Pinson.
Kennard into the paint. Forces it up with his right hand, his offhand. And again, they're back within 4.
But what a big-time scorer Luke Kennard is and is going to be.
Barry into the chest of Jeter and a chance for 3.
Wow. That is a big-time play and a big-time finish by Joel Barry right into the chest of the defender. Well, he had Bryce Johnson to throw it down to, but went right into the chest of Chase Jeter and still able to finish that play. That was big time.
Welcome back to the ACC on ESPN. Time now to take a look at tonight's Wendy's Wooden Watch. We're down to the late season 20. Bryce Johnson is among those, and Jay's getting a lot of good attention for himself here tonight with what he's done so far in this game with 27 points and 17 rebounds.
Well, he's making a pretty good case for ACC Player of the Year.
Yeah.
And very few players have been as efficient all season long as Bryce Johnson has been. He's averaging over 10 rebounds per game, close to 17 points on the season, and shooting over 60% from the field. And he's just had a fabulous year. You know, a lot of people talk, and they should, about that 39-point, 23-rebound game that he had at Florida State. But this is shaping up as a game that could match that performance as well as he's played.
I don't know that anybody can wrestle the Wooden Award away from Buddy Hield unless things go a lot differently in the next month or so. But in terms of ACC Player of the Year, you make a great point. Grayson Allen's got to be in the conversation. Malcolm Brogdon's got to be in the conversation.
You put Cat Barber of NC State up there as well.
Yep.
But I tend to think that Bryce Johnson is the front runner because of North Carolina being #1 in the conference. And Malcolm Brogdon, I think, here's my all ACC team. I know people were breathless waiting for that, but I think Malcolm Brogdon is the ACC Defensive Player of the Year. I don't even think that's close.
Ingram with a pull-up, rattles it home. He's now 4 for 15 in the game.
And one of the few 2-point shots he's made.
Pinson lays it in a heartbeat at the other end.
Well, how easy was that? Well, Duke has to work so hard to knock down a difficult jump shot, and then on the inbounds, they give up a layup.
And Mike Krzyzewski's going to bring Plumlee back into the game with 4 fouls. Allen misses the 3. Jeter runs it down, and then he traveled.
And this is a dangerous period right now for Duke. Down 7. North Carolina with the basketball, and you have to think that the Tar Heels are going to look to go inside, and I would go right at Marshall Plumlee right away. He's guarding Kennedy Meeks. Try to get Meeks the ball, and then Meeks should use a shot fake and go right at him.
Seven-point lead, Tar Heels, nearly the midway point of the second half. Page over Allen. How
about that rebound by Plumlee, going after that thing with both hands. He's 4th in the league, Marshall Plumlee is, in ACC play, averaging about 10 rebounds a game.
Got one at the offensive end and drew the foul.
That is quite a response from Plumlee. To come into the game with 4 fouls, not be overly concerned with picking up number 5 and being aggressive when he comes back in. Grabs a big defensive rebound, then comes down, grabs an offensive rebound. And both those rebounds he grabbed with 2 hands.
But every whistle, Roy Williams can keep making substitutions. Mike Krzyzewski does not have that luxury. Jackson, Barry, Johnson all coming back in for Carolina as we check in with Shannon.
You talk about the leadership of Marshall Plumlee. Coach K has been using the Army and the ROTC, that they have that in common, obviously, as a sort of a starting point for Marshall Plumlee to kind of explain to him how he needs to talk to his guys, how he needs to motivate them. He said, how does a platoon leader talk to their guys when a command comes down? Plumlee has really responded. Coach K told us that earlier today before the game.
And Jay, did you think going back 2 or 3 years, did you foresee Plumlee being this big of a contributor to Duke?
I thought he would be. I actually thought he would be a contributor like this earlier. But he was playing behind Jahlil Okafor.
Yeah.
You know, if you got the choice, who are you going to play more? You're going to play the second pick in the draft. But Marshall Plumlee has kept plugging throughout his career. He's gotten better and better. He's really a terrific athlete. Guy that can really run. He's incredibly strong.
Barry with a floater, no. Ingram down with a good rebound in traffic for Ingram, his 9th board of the night.
Ingram hasn't shot well, but he's done everything else well.
Allen into traffic to Kennard.
Heck of a catch by Luke Kennard.
Ingram the drive, and he draws the foul. Boy, with that length, that reach, one dribble, and he's at the rim.
Well, Brandon Ingram's got everything except for 2 shoes. He threw a shoe there. But he's got everything. He's multi-dimensional. He's really a guard out there on the floor. And Mike Krzyzewski and his staff have been running a lot of isolations for him and some different things where they can get him one-on-one, and most of it's on the left side. They'll have him catch the ball at the elbow. They'll set a wide pin down into the corner, wind up getting the ball, and then he can go one-on-one. You had mentioned about his scoring, Dan. He's averaging on the season over 17 a game. The only freshmen that are averaging more points than him on the season, you look at the great freshman scorers, Johnny Dawkins, Jabari Parker, Okafor, who we mentioned, the great Gene Banks from the 70s. But the only guys right now that are averaging more points in the country than Brandon Ingram are Ben Simmons, who's averaging just under 20 for LSU, and Jamal Murray, who's averaging just under 19 for Kentucky.
Well, would it surprise you if Ingram is the number 2 pick in the draft?
He will be if he comes out. He will be the number 2 pick behind Ben Simmons. Another offensive rebound.
Hicks can't finish. And it's Duke's ball. And we've said this a lot. It's a 4-point game still. That we're now 10.5 minutes into the second half. And although it's felt like Duke has been in the corner, taking punches and taking body blows all night long, it's a 4-point game.
What does this remind you of? Reminds me of 2012 when North Carolina was the better team. They had a team that if you don't have Kendall Marshall getting hurt at the end of the year, you'd like to see that team play Kentucky. And Duke hung around and hung around and hung around. Austin Rivers hit a shot to win it.
Allen makes it a 2-point game. Page.
Why are they shooting threes?
Hicks with a save as he and Thornton go tumbling into the first row of seats.
Well, North Carolina's got to get the ball inside. That's where their advantage is. And the big guys have to move and look to post.
Hicks will drive and get it to go.
The big guys need touches. And Derek Thornton was helping off inside. And that was a very difficult shot by Isaiah Hicks, who's had a terrific season for North Carolina. A 1-4 set right now for Duke.
Five to shoot. Thornton's got to create something. Carolina ball. Inside 8 minutes to go.
North Carolina's got to start attacking the rim.
Barry. Too strong. Ball is loose. And a foul committed by Barry to take us to the under 8 media timeout. 7:47 to go. Duke still hanging around.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Wendy's, proud sponsor of the 2016 John R. Wooden Award Men's Player of the Year, and USAA, proudly serving the military community and their families for more than 90 years.
Welcome back to Chapel Hill. A 4-point lead. North Carolina over Duke. Dan Schulman, Jay Billis, Shannon Spake. At halftime tonight, the former broadcaster for the North Carolina Tar Heels, the legendary Woody Durham, was honored here in Chapel Hill. It was a year ago at this time that he was given the Kurt Gowdy Award for outstanding contributions to basketball broadcasting. That's an award from the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame. And guess who got that award this year? This guy right here. Congratulations on winning the Gowdy. That is a great honor and richly deserved.
It's a great honor and a tremendous lapse in judgment by the Hall of Fame, but I'll take it. I'm very fortunate to be working with you and so many of our other great colleagues, and I'm very, very grateful, very honored.
Well, a terrific honor.
And a great honor for Woody Durham, one of the great voices in the history of our business.
7:45 to go here at the Smith Center. Can Carolina pull away? Duke just has been sticking around all night long.
What a play by Page.
And then Allen is called for the foul.
When Marcus Page got back down, he stopped the drive by moving his feet, then got back down into the post and turned around and blocked that shot, that turnaround jumper by Grayson Allen. What a tremendous play by Page.
And that is the 7th team foul on Duke this half, so 1-1 for Carolina.
Not sure there was a foul after that, but still a tremendous job by Marcus Page. One thing, Dan, that Marcus Page, he's not had his best season this year. He's injured early on and went through a horrific slump for about 3 weeks where he couldn't find the basket. It even affected his free throw shooting. One of the great free throw shooters in North Carolina history was coming into this game only shooting 69% from the free throw line due to that slump in ACC play. But he's fought through it, and in a year where Bryce Johnson has taken over as their best player, doesn't seem to have bothered him a bit. What a great teammate Marcus Page is for North Carolina. Another block.
Back-to-back blocks by Marcus Page. Jackson to Barry. Blocked by Ingram.
A block party has broken out at the Smith Center.
Kennard. Duke really needs a bucket on this trip. And Allen smothered from behind by Jackson. Page no. Jackson with a follow. Largest lead of the game for North Carolina. I think the glare from Mike Krzyzewski suggests he thought a foul should have been called on the Allen drive at that end of the court. But boy, 3 blocks from Carolina, and they're turning them into points at the other end.
Well, Marcus Page made a couple of fabulous blocks. That's the second one he made on Grayson Allen, and that was a foul. There's no question that he came right down on the arms of Grayson Allen. So Mike Krzyzewski's got a legitimate beef. I think he was arguing that there wasn't a foul on Grayson Allen after he had that initial shot blocked by Marcus Page. And it's clear that was an absolute foul by Justin Jackson there that just wasn't called. But overall, that foul aside by Jackson, what great defense by North Carolina.
And there's Hicks called for a foul, his third. Coming your way, Super Saturday, 6:30 Eastern Time. Game day will be in SEC country. It'll be Kentucky and Texas A&M, 6:30 Eastern Time on ESPN. Then after that on ABC, the NBA, the Warriors, and the Clippers. What a great night of basketball.
Brandon Ingram going one-on-one against Hicks. What a move.
Great adjustment by Ingram.
He's showing uncommon strength for someone of his build.
Mike Krzyzewski talked about that pregame. He said he's stronger and tougher than people think he is, and he's just getting started.
And that was a tough and strong rebound there by Ingram.
His 10th.
Yeah, Duke just keeps hanging around. I don't think this would have been possible 3 weeks ago. This Duke team has grown up immeasurably the last 3 weeks.
Ingram driving into Johnson again. Duke bench wants a goaltending call. They're not going to get it, but it will be their ball.
One thing that Bryce Johnson, boy, that was awfully close. That was awfully close to the basket. Couldn't really tell the angle. But Bryce Johnson's done a nice job of forcing Brandon Ingram to shoot over him. Did it in the first half and has done it at periods through the second.
Ingram again pulls up at the elbow, gets the bounce, and Jay, stop me if you've heard this before, but it's a 4-point game again.
And now it's about getting a stop for Duke on the road in a difficult environment. And you got to think right now it's a smaller lineup for North Carolina, and North Carolina's not a great shooting team.
Jackson driving on Plumlee, who's got 4. It's going to be Carolina ball. Ingram thought it was his. The officials will talk it over. Yeah, they do. Carolina player coming over the back of Ingram, knocking it out of bounds, so it's Duke ball.
Bryce Johnson back into the ball game for North Carolina, replacing Isaiah Hicks, so he's going to be guarding Plumlee. So right now you got Brandon Ingram being guarded by Theo Pinson. There's the isolation.
Baseline jumper is there. This kid is making play after play here down the stretch.
Well, Duke is basically running an NBA offense. They're just going at whatever matchup they think they can exploit.
6 straight points for Duke. Jackson, Johnson. 29 for Bryce Johnson.
Dan, this game right now is about getting stops. Both teams have proven they can really score. The question is, can they get a stop?
You got to wonder if fatigue is setting it at all for the Duke players. Basically playing with 5 here in the second half. Sure didn't look that way on that play by Grayson Allen.
But Duke's just spreading the floor and going one-on-one. And Allen using his strength to back down Marcus Page and just get him down into the low post, and got that contact and finished through it.
And a free throw can bring Duke within 1. Meeks back in for Jackson for the Tar Heels. If you weren't with us earlier and you're wondering where Matt Jones is, turned his left ankle badly in the first half. Has not played since. Jeter's played a little bit here in the second half, but it's basically been 5 for Duke in the second half.
Well, what a gritty performance by Duke on the road against a team that I believe could very well be the best team in the country in North Carolina. And just 1 point down with 4 minutes to go in regulation. Remarkable. Absolutely remarkable.
It was 4 at the half. Carolina's largest lead is 8. That was earlier this half. Page fires it off the backboard and draws the foul to take us to immediate timeout. But right now, Jay, Brandon Ingram is keeping Duke in this game.
Well, Mike Krzyzewski has isolated Brandon Ingram against matchups that he can exploit, and he's done it in every way possible. Driving it, switching hands, pull-up jumpers, turnaround jumpers. Talk about a multi-dimensional star. That's Brandon Ingram.
Well, the folks from Duke, they're hanging around where Carolina's trying to hold on. We got 3 minutes and 52 seconds to figure out which one of those is going to be a winner. After the game, Sports Center on the court. What a finish. Dan Shulman, Jay Billis, bring us home.
John, thank you very much. Looking forward to Sports Center after the game, and looking forward to the last 3:52 of this one. Carolina, the theme tonight, they had just not been able to pull away from Duke, in spite of the fact Duke's basically playing with 5 players right now, and in spite of the huge night that Bryce Johnson has had. 2-point game, Duke ball.
Well, and North Carolina's not really pounded the ball inside in the second half. It looks like North Carolina going with a 1-3-1. Theo Pinson up top. Joel Berry down on the baseline. So you can get something in the corners.
First time Duke has seen this look tonight. Slowing him down. Shot clock under 10. Allen to Ingram. Ingram for 3. Rebound Johnson, his 18th.
A really good call out of the timeout by Roy Williams to switch it up, give Duke a different look. And I think that North Carolina's got to go inside. They got their 2 big guys screening for each other. Get the ball inside and let your big guys go to work.
Duke's got Plumlee on Johnson and Ingram on Meeks.
And Plumlee's got 4 fouls. He's been playing the last 7 minutes with 4 fouls.
Very little push off on Thornton. Missed the shot. And it's a shot clock violation on Carolina.
Just a poor offensive possession for North Carolina. Joel Berry got away with a push that could have very well been an offensive foul. But the ball never touched the post. There was never a time when a North Carolina player with the ball got a piece of the paint. And now Duke with yet a second opportunity to take the lead. 1-3-1 again.
Jackson over the top now. Duke's last lead was at 20-18. Kennard. And they've got the lead.
What an amazing happening. Now let's see if North Carolina, they're not getting any movement out of their big guys. If they can get the ball inside.
Johnson not getting any touches the last 5 or 6 minutes. Inside 10 to shoot. Page for 3. Jackson with the offensive rebound. Meeks inside. Carolina back on top.
Boy, the offensive rebound, that has been a huge factor in this game for North Carolina. That one a long rebound after Carolina settled for a 3.
Allen skips it out to Ingram. Inside 2 minutes to go. Everybody standing here at the Dean Dome. Ingram with a pull-up. Plumlee taps it out, but it's out of bounds. Back to Carolina.
Bryce Johnson doing a terrific job getting pressure on that shot by Brandon Ingram. And North Carolina trying to use some clock right here. They've got everybody about the free throw line and above. Looking high-low.
Johnson.
How about Plumlee and the way he's battled with those 4 fouls?
Got a challenge here. Page drives. Pass tipped away. 2-on-1 Duke. Allen will try to do it himself, and he draws the foul.
And one of the few opportunities in the second half that Duke has gotten in the open court. And give Marshall Plumlee a good bit of credit for his defense there with those 4 fouls. And North Carolina really not getting back. If there hadn't been a foul, Luke Kennard was right there for a stick back.
Grayson Allen to the line. 85% on the season, a 6 for 8 tonight.
You'll remember Allen missed a couple free throws late against Virginia and then ultimately made that game winner. That was the first game-winning shot, buzzer beater that Duke had since Austin Rivers hit that shot to beat North Carolina in this building in 2012.
Duke by 1. Carolina ball, just over a minute to go.
Box set by North Carolina. The up screen, then the stagger away.
Page got a switch. Driving on Plumlee. Finds Meeks. Meeks blocked. Duke ball.
And that was blocked by Luke Kennard. And Duke with a 1-point lead now.
Boy, there were times in the second half you thought it would get away from Duke, that Carolina would just wear them down, and they never got that separation. and give the Blue Devils all the credit in the world for what they have done for the first 39.5 minutes tonight.
Got to drive the ball here. You don't want to settle.
Allen, long jumper. No. Long rebound. Johnson. Shot clock turned off.
Looks like Roy Williams may want a timeout. No, he doesn't. He wants to go straight at him without a timeout.
They're going to play it. Inside 10 seconds. Barry. Partially blocked. Duke ball. And Duke is going to win the game.
What an amazing win by Duke. Foul trouble. Matt Jones injured. How much does this remind you of 2012?
Unbelievable. To come into this building and beat this team without Matt Jones. An incredible win for the Duke Blue Devils tonight. 74-73 over North Carolina. What an effort by Duke.
And Roy Williams choosing not to call a timeout to get the shot that they wanted. And Duke forcing North Carolina into a good bit of jump shots in the second half. And Carolina did not get the ball inside, which was their strength.
Matt Jones going off the court on crutches. He watched. Jackson couldn't get a shot off. Barry did get it off, but Thornton got a piece of it. And then the rebound came down to Allen. The clock ran out, and the Duke Blue Devils come up with an improbable and huge, tremendously important road win tonight here in Chapel Hill.
When Matt Jones went down with that injured ankle, he'd only played 9 minutes of the game, had not scored. Now he's leaving on crutches. I mean, how many people thought that Duke could hang on and win this game? What a tremendous performance by Duke.
Shannon Spake is with Brandon Ingram.
And a tremendous performance by Brandon Ingram. You know, we spoke yesterday, and you told me you guys try to approach every single game the same. How was this game different, the rivalry?
I think this was the best game we played this year. We came out, we fought. We saw we weren't knocking shots down, so we got after it defensively. And we got after the defensive boards, and we just got after it.
What were the conversations like when Matt Jones got injured and some of the guys were in foul trouble?
We're not going to make any excuses. We've been playing with 6 guys all year, and Chase Jeter stepped up and gave us some big minutes, and we pulled it out.
Brandon, you grew up watching this rivalry very closely. To have 20 points and 10 rebounds in your first go at it, what does that mean to you?
It means a lot. I have a lot to get better at. I struggled a lot in the first half, but my teammates picked me up. They told me to do better and keep being aggressive, so we pulled out the win tonight.
Go enjoy this big-time celebration.
Thank you.
Things just got a lot tighter in the ACC with this game here tonight. 6 teams are now within 1 game of the lead after Duke's win over North Carolina here at the Dean Smith Center tonight. A great performance on the road by the Blue Devils. A heartbreaking night for fans of North Carolina. Again, the final, Duke 74, North Carolina 73. Coming up next, Sports Center from right here at the Dean Dome with John Anderson and John Buccigross. For Jay Billis, Shannon Spake, and our entire crew, I'm Dan Schulman saying thanks for watching. Now, let's send it to Sports Center.